In this video, I'm going to share with you a protocol that is firstly going to eliminate or greatly reduce your cravings for pornography. And secondly, it is also going to accelerate the process of rewiring and healing your brain from decades of porn use. You heard it right. Your brain does have the ability to rewire itself, and this is known as neuroplasticity. And the protocol that I'm about to share with you helps promote neuroplasticity. To really understand and appreciate how the ketogenic protocol works, you need to understand a bit more about the two sources of fuel that your body uses to create energy and function. The very first source is glucose. When your body is used to functioning off glucose, then it pretty much uses carbs as fuel which come from the food that you eat. This is the fuel source that 99% of people in the modern times use heavily, because due to industrialization, food is now just so adequately available. However, there is a second fuel source called ketones. This is when your body begins to use its own fat as fuel. Like, think about it. Our ancestors did not have access to 3 meals a day. They probably ate once a day or twice a day and probably did not eat at all during famines. So your body was designed to survive during such times. In those conditions, your body went into a state called ketosis. And this state of ketosis is when your body is primarily utilizing its own fat as fuel and it stops relying on the food that you eat. This state can be achieved using fasting, which is going for a period of time without consuming calories, or it can also be achieved via a ketogenic diet. The ketogenic diet is a style of eating where you greatly lower your carb intake and mostly consume proteins and fats. This diet was specifically designed to mimic the fasting state. Now, the most obvious question becomes, what is the relation between being in a ketogenic state and porn addiction? Well, I have worked with dozens of porn addicts and I have been offering them this ketogenic-based dietary protocol, and every single one of these individuals reported feeling a significant lowering of their urges for watching porn within days after following a keto-based protocol. Additionally, I have noticed that they made a full recovery from porn addiction around 3 to 5 times sooner than people who are not following a keto-based protocol. There are a number of changes that happen in your body when you switch from using glucose to now entering a ketogenic state. What these changes signal to the body is that, hey, there's probably not much food around. You better start making some changes in the way that you function in order to survive. So in the absence of food, your body's priorities begin to change. It no longer prioritizes reproduction, but it instead focuses on survival and resource acquisition. This is why people report feeling a massive drop in their urges for pornography when they are in a ketogenic state. Additionally, they report feeling more focused, motivated, and in control of themselves. The second set of key changes that happen have to do with housekeeping and detoxing. Since your body does not receive glucose to burn, which comes from carbs, it begins to start burning off not only your own fat, but also the dead and decaying and dysfunctional cells in your body. This is known as autophagy. Secondly, it starts producing new brain cells that are functionally better, and this process is called neurogenesis. It is the combination of autophagy and neurogenesis that are the core mechanisms that accelerate the rewiring of your brain and allow it to recover from porn addiction and undo all the damage that has been caused due to porn use. There are various ways to enter this ketogenic state, and I'm going to share with you a few of the popular ones that I have used with my clients. These protocols are not really set in stone, so feel free to mix and match with your lifestyle and your health conditions. The first way, and probably the most simplest way to enter a ketogenic state, which does not require a lot of learning, is intermittent fasting. Intermittent fasting is basically you going for a duration of time without food. When it comes to intermittent fasting, I have 3 categories for it. The first is the 16-8 approach. This is ideal for someone who doesn't want to lose too much weight. You're probably a bit on the skinny side of things. In this approach, you are basically going to be fasting for 16 hours a day, and you will have an 8-hour long eating window during which you will be consuming your 2 or 3 meals, whatever you prefer. Now, it will take you a couple of days before your body gets used to fasting and adjusts to using fat as fuel, and that process might not feel the best. So just hang in there for a week and then you're going to see all the benefits of fasting. Here's a pro tip. When you are sleeping, you are naturally in a fasted state. You can leverage that to your advantage. So just have an early dinner and skip out on breakfast and you would have already completed a 16-hour fast without any effort. The second fasting-based approach is the 24 approach. This is ideal for someone who has a bit of extra fat in them and they would like to accelerate their healing and possibly lower their urges to an even greater degree. It is very similar to the previous approach, just that you now have a 20-hour window during which you're not going to eat food and a 4-hour window during which you're going to get those 1 or 2 meals in. A pro tip would be to include your last meal around 2 hours before bedtime, because if it's too far from your bedtime, you might not be able to fall asleep on an empty stomach. And if it's too close to your bedtime, you're going to feel quite uncomfortable with all that food sitting in you. The last intermittent fasting approach is called OMAD, which stands for 1 meal a day. This is once again a very powerful tool. The autophagy that you're going to get in this will be great. You are quickly going to drop weight, and this is ideal for someone who's quite overweight and wants to drop that weight and significantly lower the urges and heal their brain. However, I would not recommend this approach if you're skinny or having a tough time with fasting due to low blood sugar levels or low insulin levels. Because as healing as this approach is, it is also quite intense on your body. These were the 3 primary fasting-based approach. You don't have to stick to one approach for the rest of your life. Maybe you start with OMAD and you lose a bit of weight and you quickly let your system adapt to fasting. But after a week or so, you drop down to the 16-8 protocol. So feel free to experiment with all these approaches and pick the one that is right for you at the right stage, at the stage that you are. One word of warning when it comes to fasting: make sure you prepare your meals in advance before you get those hunger pangs. You don't want to break your fast by binge eating garbage food, because this will have the opposite of the intended effect. You're going to feel that your urges for porn just skyrocket if you eat garbage food. Additionally, if you are on the skinnier side of things, stick to shorter fasts and do them consistently, because longer fasts might just make you feel a bit too exhausted, and this too could have the opposite of the intended effect. Now let's say that you are someone who is super skinny and can't fast at all, or you are just really into weight training and you don't want to lose weight, or for some reason you just don't want to fast. Then this is where diets like the ketogenic diet or a low carb diet or time restricted carb intake diet might be the best option for you. A ketogenic diet is basically you can eat whenever you want. You don't really need to fast. However, you need to make sure that you're greatly restricting your carbs so that you're almost tricking your body into being in a fasted state. The carb intake on keto diet should be anywhere between 20 to 50 grams. If for some reason the ketogenic diet has stopped working too well for you, you just feel that it's a bit too intense and you feel tired and lethargic all the time, then I would recommend that you stick to a low carb diet instead. The carb intake for a low carb diet should be anywhere between 50 to 100 grams. This is, in my opinion, the best long-form healing option and the most sustainable option that gives you the benefits of both fasting plus the joy of feeling full and having carbs. This is especially great for the skinny guys or people who just feel that the other approaches are a bit too intense. In this format of dieting, you basically follow a ketogenic diet for most of the day, except that for one meal in that day or 1 hour in that day, you get to have as many carbs as you want, as long as they are from a clean, healthy, natural source like honey, fruits, whole grain, etc. Now, just a pro tip, you can actually mix and match intermittent fasting based approaches with ketogenic diet or a low carb diet approach. Most people actually follow a mixture of the two and it seems to work quite well. Also, know that there is no one protocol that just works well for everyone. You are going to have to experiment with a few protocols and stick to them long enough and then start tweaking them a bit before you actually discover the protocol that works perfectly for you. So once you find the right protocol, stick to it for 30 days and you're going to notice massive changes. Hey, my name is Jibreal Khan and I've helped dozens of men overcome porn addiction using tried and tested systems based on neuroscience and behavioral psychology. The best part is that these systems do not rely on willpower, which is a fleeting resource and it is bound to fade away in the long run. Some of the people that I work with have been addicted to pornography for as long as 20 years and could barely go a week without porn. So if you would like to work one-on-one with me to overcome porn addiction, then make sure that you click on the link in the description and book a call with me. This call can be completely anonymous if you prefer.